By Reverend Daniel Hayes of the John Wesley United Methodist Church. He is the guest of Council Member Sandra Moore.
Vice Mayor, neighbors, and to each and every council, I bring you greetings from John Wesley United Methodist Church, including the staff and congregation who serve in the historic Waverly Belmont community of South Nashville. It is an honor and a privilege to be granted this opportunity to open this session of the Nashville Metro Council with a word of prayer. My thanks and appreciation to Councilperson Sandra Moore for the invitation and for the leadership she has provided in our great city. Let us pray. Almighty Creator God, we gather in your presence today with great hope and expectation for your wisdom and your guidance. We recognize as human beings we are weak, so we look to you for strength and courage to accomplish the work to which we have been called. Often it is overwhelming because we are asked to do so much, most times with far too little. We know we bear the task of our work, wondering how to get it all done, but we are faithful. Thankfully, you never leave us nor forsake us. And although the burdens seem heavy, you provide that what we need with when we least expect it to come. Now we beseech thee to lead us through the business at hand with sound mind, cooperative spirits, and caring hearts for the constituents we serve. Bless our thoughts and our actions so they are pleasing in your sight. Continue to remind us we are servant leaders for your people, and help us to continue to grow in both times of struggle and jubilation. Through Christ our Lord and Savior we pray. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of the minutes of our August 7th? We have a motion and a second. Without objection, the minutes will stand approved. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There is a message from the mayor. Dear Vice Mayor, neighbors, and members of the council, please find attached the State of Tennessee reporting forms required to be submitted to the local legislative body following the sale of bonds previously authorized by the Metropolitan Council. The reports are for the following bond sales: $47,450,000 District Energy System Revenue and Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2012A, that was Resolution 2012-319, $140,345,000 General Obligation Refunding Bonds, Series 2012B, Taxable, that was RS 2012-320, $6,440,000 General Obligation Improvements Bonds, Federally Taxable, Series 2012, Qualified Energy Conservation Bonds, Direct Payment, RS 2012-317. The two refunding issues were structured in conformance with the Metropolitan Government's recently adopted debt management policy and will result in present value savings of more than $19.6 million in savings for the Metropolitan Government over the remaining life of the bonds. In fact, the savings were significantly higher than anticipated when the Metropolitan Council approved the bond resolutions authorizing the sale. For each issue, the specific results are: the DES refunding issue will save $14.5 million, $11.9 million present value over the life of the bonds, which will be fully paid in 2033. The general obligation refunding issue will save $9.9 million, $7.6 million present value over the life of the bonds, which will be fully paid in 2025. The energy conservation bonds will be used for energy-saving projects at the Bridgestone Arena and will be fully retired in 2027 with an effective interest rate well below 1% after taking into consideration the federal subsidy payment. As always, we appreciate the Metropolitan Council's support on these important financing initiatives. Sincerely, Carl F. Dean, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on our agenda are presentations. Councilmember Berry.
And I would invite any of my colleagues back who would like to join me back here with the Strobel family. It is my great pleasure to stand here with so many of my colleagues, as well as the family and friends of Mary Catherine Schweiss Strobel, who are over here. And if you all would like to come and join us, please do. I'm sure. Come on over. We are here to celebrate the occasion of Mary Catherine Strobel's 100th birthday. She would have been 100 yesterday. And for those of you who do not know Mary Catherine's story and why she is worthy of remembering even now, let me share with you the impact that one person can have on so many. Mary Catherine Schweiss Strobel was born in Nashville on August 20th, 1912, and she grew up in the city's old Germantown neighborhood. She is best remembered and honored in Middle Tennessee for her tireless, joyful commitment to those in need, the poor, the sick, the homeless, and the helpless. She was the daughter of Mary Magdalene Sullivan and Henry Charles Schweiss Jr. When she was just a baby, a gas stove exploded in the family home while her father was away. Her mother was killed in the blaze, but Mary Catherine was saved by a neighbor. She and her father moved in with his family, and in this way, an only child became a cherished member of a large and boisterous and giving clan. These early experiences were powerful influences. She was naturally gregarious and open, and she came to see everyone that she encountered as family, and she never met a stranger. She grew up among many people without power or influence. Yet in her eyes, the life of her community was overflowing with abundance because those who surrounded her were always willing to give everything they had to one another. She was keen to follow their example, and as a very young child, she would ask her father for money to buy food for poor neighbors, and she collected useful items to deliver around the neighborhood. Her approach to giving throughout her life was exclusively hands-on. Her car was a rolling general store with supplies of food, clothes, shoes, books, and other goods for the needy. Her typical day might involve visiting several hospitals, assisting at a soup kitchen, attending a funeral, and taking clothing to people in need whom she always referred to as her friends. Although a lifelong and devout Catholic, Mary Catherine's good works were not confined to a single religion or race. She opened her arms to the human race. Yet her approach was always personal, always one-on-one, and she gave her greatest gifts freely: her time, her love, her faith, and her good humor. In 1937, she married Martin George Strobel, an employee of the Nashville Fire Department. She had 4 children: Veronica, Alice, Jerry, and Charles. 10 years later, when she was 35, Martin died of a heart attack. Knowing that Mary Catherine now faced providing for her children and 2 elderly aunts alone, the chief broke precedent and offered her a job in the fire marshal's office. She made history by becoming the first female employee of the Nashville Fire Department, and she was the only one for the next 29 years. Yes, not until 1976. In December of '86, while she was shopping in Nashville, Mary Catherine's life was tragically cut short. And in the aftermath became a profound outpouring of love and appreciation from the Nashville community that she had cherished. In 1987, the Metro Council renamed its Fire Prevention Hall the Mary Catherine Schweiss Strobel Fire Prevention Bureau building, and in April of '87, Nashville's United Way honored her memory by creating the Mary Catherine Strobel Volunteer of the Year Award that recognizes the volunteers throughout our community who quietly and selflessly give to others every day of their lives. Some years after her death, one person noted, "Mary Catherine was Nashville's Mother Teresa, minus the fame. She was a tireless and unsung Good Samaritan in her life, and she became the standard by which volunteer work is measured." While I never had the pleasure of knowing Mary Catherine, I know of her through her children and her extended family, all of whom continue to embody her loving and giving spirit through their own work in our community. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the council, we go on record as recognizing Mary Catherine Strobel's 100th birthday. The Metro Council office is directed to prepare a copy of this resolution and to present it to the family of Mary Catherine Strobel. The resolution shall take effect after its adoption and the welfare of the Metro government and Nashville-Davidson County requiring it. Happy birthday to Mary Catherine.
Thank you so much, Councilperson Berry, and thanks for everybody here at the Metro Council. My uncle Jerry Strobel just reminded me that Mary Catherine Strobel would have said, "A woman who will tell her age will tell anything." And so I think we've really violated one of her, core philosophies here tonight. I do want to just take a few moments as her granddaughter and also thank her children, Charles, Jerry, Veronica, and Alice, and her son-in-law, Bob Edler, who is a career Metro Planning employee who many of you know. We could not be more grateful to this phenomenal city for recognizing our grandmother this particular time. All of us know that Nashville was such a big part of her life and her legacy, and she could not meet anyone that she didn't want to tell where she was from and how proud she was and how good the city of Nashville had always been to her. She felt like, having been an orphan, it was the city who enveloped her with family and with friendship, and we see that here today. And then it was the city of Nashville who hired her husband, who was handicapped, and served as a dispatcher at the Metro Fire Department. Then it was the city of Nashville when he unexpectedly died in the coldest winter and left her with 4 children of her own under the age of 8 years old, who came to her and said, "We want you to be a part of the Metro Fire Department." So I think that her legacy there and her love of this city really does represent so much to all of us. And she used to tell us all great stories about being the only woman at the fire department and how they would make her carry around a little bell so that they would make sure that they were not saying anything appropriate when she walked into the room. The city has been great to all of us as well, and here we are 100 years later, and you're still doing so many wonderful things for our grandmother, Mary Catherine. So thanks to each and every one of you. We are eternally grateful.
Next on our agenda is the election of President Pro Tem. We will now accept nominations. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Members of Council, it is a privilege and honor of mine to rise tonight to nominate Councilman Carter Todd for the position of President Pro Tem. Councilman Todd and I we both represent parts of Green Hills and Oak Hill, and because of that, over the past 5 years, I've worked the closest of any of my colleagues with Councilman Todd, and I've been able to work with him up close and personal and know him to be a very effective and capable member of council. And as a past President Pro Tem myself, I can assure you that Councilman Todd is very qualified and able to this position, and I would hope that you would support him tonight for the position of President Pro Tem. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Councilmember Harmon.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of council. I rise tonight to place my own name in nomination. A couple of my supporters and I met earlier, and it seems I drew the short straw. So that's why I'm placing my own name in nomination. Actually, I thought it would be best if I just spoke directly to all of you. You may have received a letter a few weeks ago outlining my lifelong interest and education in parliamentary procedure. What I didn't say in the letter is what I want to say to you tonight. I'll be fair to all my colleagues, which I think I have done over the last year. I'll listen to suggestions, anything that we can do to improve the process, whether it's announcements or otherwise, we should be open to doing. And I'll do all I can to prepare should I be called to preside in the absence of the Vice Mayor. Finally, I want to say thank you. Thank you for this journey. because I don't know any other way to describe talking to all of you in the chamber. It's been wonderful to visit with each one of you during this process. It's been enlightening and a pure joy. I thank you for your consideration and would appreciate your vote.
Councilmember Moore.
I also rise to nominate myself as President Pro Tem as well, and I'm going to yield my time to Council Lady Gilmore. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Moore. I rise before the council this evening. As past president, I want to thank you for your support, but I rise tonight in support of Council Lady Moore. I appreciate her experience. She has served in several capacities as chair of the different committees. She's also served as president of the Black Caucus. And moreover, she has dealt with very controversial issues and shown herself to be pretty even-tempered. And everybody knows the infamous Fairgrounds. And I think that showed that she can handle tough situations and is very even-tempered. And I think that's what we're looking for. So I rise tonight in support of Council Lady Moore, and I would ask you to consider her for strong consideration of Speaker Pro Tem because of her experience, because of her even-temperedness, because of her professionalism, and because of her due diligence. Thank you so much.
We will have a machine vote. If you want to vote for Councilmember Harmon, you will press the green button. If you want to vote for Councilmember Moore, you will press the red button. If you want to vote for Councilmember Todd, you will press the yellow button. Green Harmon, red Moore, yellow Todd. Madam Clerk, will you close the machines and tally the vote?
Harmon 14, Moore 5, Todd 20.
Right. Well, Councilmember Todd, congratulations. Councilmember Todd, I would highly recommend that you get with Mr. Cooper as soon as you can in anticipation of the next meeting. We're now at elections and confirmations. Councilmember Stein.
The Rules Committee interviewed Mr. Thurman Rivers as a reappointment to the Agricultural Extension Board, recommends his approval, 11-4, none against, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
The committee heard the appointment of Dr. Ruth Ross Edmonds as a first-time appointee to the Arts Commission. We recommend her approval, 11-4, none against, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Community Corrections Advisory Board, the reappointment of Ms. Martisha Johnson. The committee recommends 11-4, none against, and I move her approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Gas Mechanical Examiners Appeal Board, the reappointment of Mr. Cal Nielsen. The committee recommends 11-4, none against, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
A first-time appointee to the Historical Zoning Commission is Mr. Samuel Champion. The committee recommends his approval, 11-4, none against, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Human Relations Commission, a first-time appointee, Ms. Sharon Kay, is recommended by the committee, 11-4, none against, and I move her approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Property Standards and Appeals Board, 2 reappointments. The first, Mr. Bobby Boner. The second, Mr. Carol Richardson. The committee recommends each, 11-4, none against, and I move their approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Vegetation Control Board, Ms. Jana Baber was recommended by the committee, 11-4, none against, and I move Ms. Baber's approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
And last but certainly not least, for the Work Release Commission, the first-time appointment of Mr. Jose R. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez is recommended, 11-4, none against, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Thurman Rivers, Dr. Ruth Edmonds, Martisha Johnson, Cal Nielsen, Samuel Champion, Sharon Gay, Bobby Boner, Carol Richardson, Jane Barber, and Jose Hernandez. On behalf of the entire Metropolitan Council, thanks to each of you for your willingness to volunteer your time and your expertise for our great city. Thank you very much. Councilmember Stein.
Madam Chair, the reappointment of Mr. Mark K. Sanders to the Property Standards and Appeals Board has been withdrawn.
Thank you, Councilman. We're now on to our consent agenda. We will take the two that are not on our consent agenda first. The first one is RS 2012-377, provides an amendment to the Charter of the Metropolitan Government pertaining to the delegation of duties and responsibilities of the Davidson County Sheriff. Councilmember Garrett.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I would move approval so that this we might consider a substitute.
You're moving the substitute?
Well, if that's what we need to move the substitute, I'll be glad to move the substitute
Okay,
first.
we have a motion on the substitute. Is there a second? Councilman?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. John, will you explain the substitute as to what we're adding to this and the bill as in general, please?
Okay. The amendment clarifies the delegation of certain duties and responsibilities to the sheriff. The amendment will basically ratify and clarify some of the things that the sheriff has been doing, such as the booking at the jail, fingerprinting, some courthouse security, security at Metro General Hospital, and some other functions. The amendment does essentially two things. First, it clarifies that the sheriff would not provide security within the courtrooms without an agreement with the judges. And the second thing it does is delete the word interrogation from the list of additional duties that can be assigned to the sheriff as it relates to detainees.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. This is somewhat I guess, procedural type of a vote, and the committee voted as substituted to defer this to September the 18th, 5-0, and that is my motion. With one other item, I would like to point out that since there has been some discussion concerning what the sheriff has done, there is a letter on the desk concerning what the sheriff is planning on doing concerning the 287G program, and I thought now's the time to let the council members know there is a letter on your desk concerning that, and I make that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the proposed substitute. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Now, Councilman, would you move to defer to September?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, and I move to defer till September the 18th, ma'am.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Provides an amendment to the Charter of the Metropolitan Government to rename the School Mothers Patrol Division. Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a part of Council Lady Weiner and Council Lady Gilmore and my project, and anybody who wants to jump in. And our way is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Metro, where we are just combing through the code and updating things. And one of the things that Mr. Cooper found was the fact that the school patrol that we all know around our schools is officially known as the School Mothers Patrol. And the charter, I think, requires you have a letter from your pastor before you can do it, and you can't do it if you're pregnant or something like that. Anyway, we're updating that language to make it more consistent with the 21st century. And so I think my motion is to defer to the second meeting in September, correct?
Yes, please. And
Okay.
Councilmember Garrett, I need a committee report on the previous bill and on this bill. On this one, sorry. Okay, 5-0. Thank you. Councilmember Evans.
Okay, so I'm moving to defer to the second meeting in September.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at resolutions on our consent agenda, and that is RS 2012-379 through RS 2012-392. Are there any of those that need to be pulled for consideration? Seeing none, RS 2012-379 approves an application for a grant from Ovation Americas for the Arts to the Metro Arts Commission for Arttober Nashville Challenge. RS 2012-380 approves an application for a grant from the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to the Community Education Commission to provide for free classes in the community. RS 2012-381 approves an application for a grant from the Tennessee Literacy Coalition to the Community Education Commission to continue funding a full-time AmeriCorps program participant. RS 2012-382 approves an annual federal Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant to the Metro Police Department for equipment, supplies, and training. RS 2012-383 approves the annual contract for services performed by Metro government for the Emergency Communications District relative to the operation of the Enhanced 911 service for fiscal year 2012-2013. RS 2012-384 approves a grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Metro Fire Department to hire 35 new firefighters. RS 2012-385 approves the Second Amendment to an agreement between the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Office of Emergency Management to support port-wide risk management for the Port of Nashville. RS 2012-386 approves a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health for the Healthy Start Initiative. RS 2012-387 approves an amendment to a grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to provide family planning services. RS 2012-388 approves a grant from the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to make resources available for on-the-job training to 85 new employees at Amazon facilities. RS 2012-389 approves a grant from the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish programs and deliver services to adult workers. RS 2012-390 approves a grant from the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish programs and deliver services to dislocated workers. RS 2012-391 approves the election of notaries public for Davidson County. RS 2012-392 recognizes September as Nashville Infant Mortality Awareness Month and declares September 21st, 2012 as Safe Sleep Awareness Day in Davidson County. I now need committee reports from Councilmember McGuire, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted to unanimously approve RS 2012-379, 380, 381, 382, 383, 384, 385, 386, 387, 388, 389, and 390 with a vote of 15 for, none against.
Thank you very much. Councilman Mitchell, Public Safety.
Yes, Public Safety voted to approve RS 2012-382, 383, 384, and 385, 7-0.
Thank you. Personnel, Councilmember Weiner.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2012-388, 389, and 390 were all approved 3-0.
Thank you. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services, Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Health, Hospital, and Social Services voted to approve unanimously Resolution 2012-386, 387 with a vote 4-0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Education, Councilmember Glover.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Education voted unanimously on 380 and 381, 2-0 against.
Thank you. Rules and Confirmations, Councilmember Stein.
Rules voted on 391 and 392, 11-4, none against, and I move approval of the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there a motion for the approval of bills on introduction and first reading?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now to bills on second reading. The first is BL 2012-206, amends the Metro Code pertaining to fire flow requirements for single-family homes constructed on larger lots in the General Services District. Councilmember Hunt.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Public Safety voted to defer to the second meeting in September.
Councilmember Moore.
Codes Fair and Farmers Market voted to defer the second meeting in September. 4 in favor, 0 against.
Councilmember Hunt.
Move to defer to the second meeting in September.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the deferral, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-209 authorizes Muninet Fiber Agency to construct, install, and maintain fiber optic cable within Davidson County. Councilmember Tenpenny.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning Committee voted 11-0 against.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved 9-0 against.
Councilmember Tenpenny.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-213 amends the Metro Code to require members of boards and commissions to provide an email address and telephone number for posting on the Nashville.gov website. Councilmember Garrett.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilmember Stein.
Rules Committee voted to defer for 2 meetings, 11-4, none against.
Thank you, Councilmember Garrett.
And thank you for the patience of the chair and the committee, and I would move to defer this 2 meetings.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-214 amends the Metro Code to limit Metro government's contribution to Partnership 2020 program. Councilmember Tiger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee report.
Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance, at the request of the sponsor, voted to withdraw and to allow Councilman Tiger no more than 5 seconds in his speech with a vote of 15-4, none against.
Thank you, Councilman McGuire. Councilmember Tiger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My motion is to withdraw with an explanation, please.
Is there a second?
Councilman McGuire was struggling with the merits of this bill, so I promised him that I would cover a couple of the key points tonight. This bill was never an attempt to discredit or to bring any scrutiny on the Chamber of Commerce, which we all agree performs its business recruitment and working with Matt Wilshire to relocate and expand businesses in Davidson County. However, it was an attempt to initiate discussion on 2 pertinent issues that came up during the budget cycle. Madam Chair, the first one of this is the spirit of regional cooperation. It would seem to me that when the city of Nashville makes a commitment of $300,000, and we all agree that we're getting great bang for our buck, but when the surrounding 10 counties and municipalities' contribution is less than half of that amount, then there is a disconnect in the importance of this issue as it relates to the surrounding counties. So we had a long discussion yesterday as to how
to discuss this issue and to ask the mayor to talk with the surrounding counties and municipalities that why an additional investment on their part would make sense for the benefit of the entire region. The second key point that was discussed at length was the concern from myself and a few other district council members about the level of cooperation of the downtown chamber with the local communities and other civic organizations that could help the chamber convince businesses who were seeking to relocate that their community had something great to offer. So hopefully we've initiated this conversation, and we'll see more discussion about how the local chambers of commerce, the civic clubs, the neighborhood organizations, when a need is identified in an area, that the chamber will bring these folks in early and help them sell our community. So with those comments, I would move to withdraw.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of withdrawal, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-215 amends the Metro Code to prohibit the use of Metro government funds for buildings or ground signs that identify the name of an elected or appointed official. Councilmember Stites.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think we have an amendment.
I need a committee report from Councilmember McGuire first.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted to approve as amended, 16 for, none against.
Thank you. Councilmember Stites.
The amendment, Councilman Glover, I believe, has it.
I need a motion
Can I get a motion on the bill, please?
on the amendment. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. A motion on the bill. Councilman Stites, I'm really not trying to confuse you. I'm confused.
That's okay.
Okay, a motion on the bill.
I move the bill.
I have a motion and a second. Now, Councilmember Glover.
I would move to amend this bill 2012-215 with a brief explanation. Notwithstanding the foregoing, this section would not prohibit the placement of temporary signs identifying the mayor and council members on these temporary signs or any commemorative signs that may be placed at a building. And so I move the amendment.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Other discussion? All in favor of the amendment, please. I'm sorry, Councilmember Langster.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, I didn't hit my button sooner, but Attorney Cooper, I want to make sure and get it on the record that a placard could be placed on the 2831st Connector Bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilmember Allen.
I'd like to also to get it on the record. You made in the analysis, it stated what the financial impact of the infrastructure signs that would be negligible. Is that correct?
Yes, and with the amendment, the infrastructure signs it clarifies that it would not apply to them anyways.
Correct.
So it would have no additional impact either way.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bedney.
Yes, a question for Mr. Cooper. Will this have any impact with educational components like LEED certified buildings that they are required to educate people about, how the building came about?
No, the bill applies to building identification signs and ground identification signs. So it would not impact a placard or notice about the LEED certification.
Thank you.
All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes. Councilmember Stites.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move the bill as amended.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-216 amends the Metro Code relative to property tax billing and payment procedures. Councilmember Berry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted to approve, 14 for, none against.
Councilmember Berry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move approval with a brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second. Council member?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Many of you were here yesterday when Mr. Cardwell, the trustee, came and talked specifically about this, but he did just want me to highlight once again that this is an option that you could have. You could have your property tax billing and payment procedures sent to you via email. If you opt in, it is taking the Metro Davidson County one step forward in electronic communication. You do not have to receive it, however. You can continue to still receive it via the mail, but this is for folks who want to receive less paper in their lives. And I would actually challenge those of us here on the council who don't pay your property tax through a mortgage company to sign up for this as a way to test this. And I know that Mr. Cardwell would be very appreciative if we would be the pilot. And with that, I move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-217 names the West Police Precinct in honor of Chief Joe Casey. Councilmember Baker.
Yes, Vice Mayor, there's an amendment on this.
I need to get a quick committee report from
Committee report,
Councilmember
please.
Stein.
Rules Committee voted to approve 11-4, none against, as amended.
Thank you. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yes, public safety approved 7-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker.
Move the bill as amended.
We have a motion on the amendment. Is there a second? Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes.
Move the bill as amended.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-218 amends the Metro Code to provide for a temporary reduction of sewer charges for customers within the area of the combined sewer overflow who install green roofs on their building. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Safety Committee passed, the amendment failed, but the bill passed 9-0.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember
218.
McGuire, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against, and I move approval.
Is there an amendment?
I believe there is. I would move the amendment at this time.
Have a motion and a second on the amendment. Mr. Cooper.
The amendment clarifies that the bill would not apply to, or the credit would not apply to government buildings, that the intent was to incentivize the private sector to install green roofs. So it would not apply to future green roofs installed by government agencies.
Councilmember Gilmore, do you want to speak on the amendment?
Is this the proper time? I just wanted to know, how would the businesses know? Are you going to send out information, or do they contact the water company to get this credit?
The bill doesn't provide for the method of advertisement, but my assumption is the water department would market the credit to its customers who are within the combined sewer overflow area.
Councilmember Allen.
Just a word of explanation of the discussion that went on with the committee about the amendment. Our thought was that we'd like to incentivize Metro as well to install green roofs where appropriate, and that was the reason that we did not pass the amendment. That could happen later on down the road if the public credit is cutting into the private credit, but we feel like initially that would be a good thing for Metro to also be incentivized.
Councilmember Berry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I also had a follow-up question to Council Lady Allen. Because there is a cap, what is the cap, and what happens if the cap is hit by all the government buildings, and then there's no room for the business people?
The cap is $500,000 a year, and so if it's pretty much a first-come, first-serve credit, so that if it did apply to government buildings, that could feasibly prevent a private building from being eligible for the credit.
And explain to me how a Metro building would get a tax credit.
Well, it's not really a tax credit. It's a credit on your sewer bill. And Metro pays, we pay a water sewer bill for all of our buildings.
But we pay it to Metro.
Correct.
Okay.
Councilmember Holloman.
Question to Mr. Cooper as well. You said it's on a first-come, first-served basis. Is that annually? So is it sort of a race down to the water department every year to figure out who the first people to get there are? Or is it once I've got the benefit, I get it?
Once you get the benefit, you keep it for until, it's up to 60 months. But you have to annually certify that you're still eligible for the credit. So you're not reapplying every year. You just have to show that you have maintained your green roof consistent with the ordinance to get the credit, is my understanding.
Okay. And at this point, we believe that there are less green roofs in this area than there are dollars available? In other words?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, in the Public Works Committee, the Water Department did not think that we would get near the $500,000 cap, at least in the first couple years.
Okay. Thank you. I will just say one other thing, and I'll rise since this isn't really a question, but I do look forward to having this discussion in committee. I will say I do have some concern. I understand this is a combined sewer system, and so we do utilize the sewer for stormwater runoff. But these are the types of programs that I think we typically see in a stormwater program, and so I look forward to talking with the Water Department when we have this discussion in committee before 3rd. Thank you.
All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment passes. Councilmember McGuire.
I would move as amended, please.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the bill as amended, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next is BL 2012-219, authorizes the acquisition of property located at 914 Berwick Trail for a pump station upgrade. Councilmember Pridemore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic Committee voted 11 for, 0 against.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved, 9-4, against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16 for, none against.
Thank you, Councilmember Pridemore.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-220 authorizes the acquisition of property located at 3268 Brick Church Pike for the Brick Church Pike Equalization Facility Project. Councilmember Hunt.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic Committee voted 11 for, 0 against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16 for, none against.
Councilmember Hunt. Public Works.
Public Works approved, 9-4, against, and I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-221 authorizes the acquisition of easements for an upgrade for the Van Diver Pump Station. Councilmember Pridemore.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic voted 11-0 to approve.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved, 9-4, against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16 for, none against.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-222 authorizes the acquisition of property located at Brush Hill Road unnumbered for the Loves Branch Pump Station Upgrade Project. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you. Committee report, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic Committee voted 11-0 to approve.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved, 9-4, against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16 for, none against.
Councilmember Davis.
I will move approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-223 authorizes the exchange of property for use as part of the Mill Creek Greenway. Councilmember Bedney.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic Committee voted 11 for, 0 against.
Councilmember Jernigan.
Parks approved 7-0.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against.
Thank you. Councilmember Bedning.
I move for approval, please.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-224 authorizes the acquisition of 48 permanent easements for the Dickerson Pike Stormwater Improvement Project located along Ben Allen Road. Councilmember Bennett.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic voted 11 for, 0 against.
Councilmember Hunt. Try again.
Public Works approved 9-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against.
Move approval, please.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-225 authorizes the acquisition of 4 easements for the Munn Road Bridge Replacement Project. Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, move for approval.
Councilmember
Committee
Hunt.
reports, I'm sorry.
Public Works approved 9-4-0 against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against.
Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Claiborne.
It's hard to do 2 things at the same time. Planning, Zoning, and Historic voted to approve 11-0.
And
And I move for approval.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-226 authorizes the acquisition of easements for 12 properties located along Murfreesboro Pike and Saturn Drive for the Saturn Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. Councilmember Stites.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic Committee voted to approve 11-0.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved 9-4-0 against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against.
Councilmember Stites.
Move for approval, please.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-227 authorizes the acquisition of 12 easements for the Jackson's View Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located along Andrew Jackson Way, Brett Ridge Drive, Carriageway Court, Jackson's Hill Road, Jackson Valley Road, and Jackson's View Road. Councilmember Glover.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 11-0.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved 9-4-0 against.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 16-4, none against.
Councilmember Glover.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-235 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by abandoning a portion of alley number 802 and alley number 815 right-of-way and easements. Councilmember Allen.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved 9-4-0 against.
Councilmember Harrison.
Traffic and Parking approved 5-4-0 against.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 11-0.
Councilmember Allen.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-236 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by abandoning Reedwood Drive right-of-way and easement. Councilmember Stites.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 11-0.
Councilmember Harrison.
Traffic and Parking deferred by rules.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works deferred 9-0 by rule, please.
Councilmember Stites.
Move to defer till next meeting, please.
We have a motion and a second on a deferral. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-190 amends 136.04 acres for the Mansion of Fontanelle Specific Plan District for properties located at 4105, 4125, and 4225 Whites Creek Pike to permit a single-family residence, bed and breakfast inn, and to amend the definition of a seasonal performance entertainment venue. Councilmember Hunt.
With all the committee reports in, we'll move for approval.
Got one more report.
One more.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Brother Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 11-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Hunt.
Move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-191 changes 27.81 acres from CS to SP zoning for properties located at 915 and 921 Robinson Road to permit a mixed-use development. Councilmember Jernigan.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 11-0.
Councilmember Jernigan.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-192 changes 1.93 acres from R15 to RM20 zoning for a portion of property located at 7301 Highway 70 South. Councilmember Weiner.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to request to suspend the rules in order to consider this bill.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic Committee voted to defer by rule.
Councilmember Weiner.
I move approval.
No. Move to suspend the rules.
Oh, sorry. Move to suspend the rules.
Is there any objection to a suspension of the rules? Seeing none, Councilmember Weiner.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-196 cancels 1.52 acres on the Chippington 2 Plan Unit Development Overlay District for property located at 1306 Corland Drive. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Committee reports in. I move approval.
Need one
Or is there
more
one
from
more?
Councilmember Claiborne.
Claiborne.
And Planning, Zoning, Historic Committee voted to approve 11-0.
Councilman.
Move approval, please.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. If without objection, we can take 197 and 198 together. Seeing none, BL 2012-197 changes 1.24 acres from MUN to OL zoning for properties located at 6730 Hickory Boulevard and Old Hickory Boulevard unnumbered east of Cloverland Drive. BL 2012-198 amends 1.24 acres of the President's Reserve at Brentwood Commercial Plan Unit Development Overlay District for property located at 673 Old Hickory Boulevard and Old Hickory Boulevard unnumbered east of Cloverland Drive, zone MUN, and proposed for OL to permit a medical office, general office, and outpatient clinic building where an office building was previously approved. Councilmember Banks. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, and Historic voted to defer by rule both 197 and 198.
Councilmember Banks.
Move to defer one meeting.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the one meeting deferral, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Without objection, we can take 199 and 200 together. Seeing none, BL 2012-199 cancels 19.2 acres of the Westwood Terrace Residential Plan Unit Development Overlay District located at 8423 Highway 100, approved previously for 37 single-family lots at the southeast corner of Highway 100 and Natchez Trace Parkway, zoned RS30 and CL and proposed for SP. BL 2012-200 changes 35.31 acres from AR2A, RS40, RS30, and CL to SP zoning for properties located at 8423 Highway 100 and 4948 Pasco Road to permit residential and various non-residential uses. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, committee report.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic approved by a vote of 11-0.
Thank you, Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, with all committee reports in, I'd move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-201 changes 17.39 acres from RS40 to SP zoning for property located at Highway 100 unnumbered to permit nursing home, assisted living, and residential uses. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, zoning, historic approved by a vote of 11-0.
Thank you, Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, with all reports in, I'd move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-202 changes 13.92 acres from IWD to SP zoning for property located at 114 Powell Place to permit retail, commercial, and light industrial uses. Councilmember Tenpenny.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember
There is
Claiborne.
an amendment on this also.
Okay, Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, zoning, and historic voted 11-0 to approve.
Thank you. Councilmember Tenpenny.
I'd like to
Move
move the bill
Is there, on the amendment?
on the amendment.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Councilmember Tenpenny, the amendment passes.
I'd like to move the bill as amended, please.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2012-204 amends the Metro zoning code to add tasting room as an accessory use in the IWD, IR, and IG zoning districts. Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, zoning, historic voted to approve the bill 11-0. There is an amendment to the bill that I would like to move.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no.
Move the bill as amended.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the bill as amended, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-207 abandons easements previously retained within the former rights-of-way of alleys number 104, 106, and 113 for property located at 719 Church Street. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-208 abandons 8 drainage easements for properties located on Bell Park Circle. Councilmember Todd.
Thank you. Move approval.
Is that your second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-2110 approves a lease agreement between Metro Government and the Tennessee Highway Patrol to permit construction of a state communications tower in the Cane Ridge community. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All committees having reported, I'd move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-211 readopts the Code of the Metropolitan Government containing certain ordinances of a general and permanent nature enacted on and before April 17, 2012. Councilmember Stein.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. And before we adjourn, I'd just like to say happy birthday to Councilmember Scott Davis. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye.